All right, it's actually legit now. Everything you say is now on the internet forever.
Can be used against me in the court of law.
It can be. I think that's the line, isn't it? Everything you're about to say is can be used against you.
It's
All right,
true.
Shelby. Like I said at the beginning, you're like our very first outsider. You're like I think I said it as tangential to the blue collar world. So why don't you take a couple of minutes and tell everybody who you are and why you're here? Why are you talking to a meathead like
Why
me?
I'm here, the big question, right? No, I'm so
Yeah.
excited to be here. Like I said before, it's great to be that first kind of outsider guest that you've got that's outside of your little niche community and everything that I'm slowly working my way into. But I own a virtual remote administration company called Join Us Administration, where we help members of the construction and trade world, from individual trade journeymen to big renovation companies, and keeping their back end together and clean and well organized, because probably 98, if not 100% of the time, trades guys, construction workers, paperwork is like the last thing on their mind, last thing that they've got skills in, last thing they ever want to deal with. Something that may take me 5 minutes takes them 5 hours. So I'm here just to kind of, connect with the community, get to know you a little bit better, share my little bits and pieces of the stuff and the things that I've seen and all that crazy stuff that
Awesome.
happens in this world.
It is a crazy world. How long you been doing it? What's your
So I've been in kind of the construction trade, oil and gas world for about 18 years, doing administration now, kind of working up from executive assistant, project coordinator, things like that. And then I've run Join Us Administration since July of 2022. So just celebrated 3 years going
Oh,
solo in business. So relatively new to it, but like hitting a really nice sweet spot and kind of niche
nice.
area that I
Is that
feel
a
like this is my calling.
nice? Is this like a COVID baby? Is that what sort of got this thing going?
Kind of, yeah. I never really discuss it like that, but it totally is. I worked for quite a few oil and gas companies during COVID. And then, of course, things shifted, they changed, cut down on their workload and the people that they had. So I ended up working for Alberta Health Services during the really crazy time of COVID. And then once
Yeah.
that had all settled down, I was like, you know what? Yeah, let's go out on our own. I was kind of dealing with a bunch of corporate trauma and just like the bullshit and bureaucracy and red tape and just being a woman in a very male dominated industry in a very
Yeah.
executive role too, that comes with its, not so great parts. So I was kind of burnt out from working like that 9 to 5 job where I was salary and really working 24/7, because a lot of these major
Yeah.
projects I was working on at the time were investors from Japan and Mitsubishi and like other companies that were trying to get involved into the Canadian oil and gas fields and stuff like that. So emails and meetings were happening at like 2 a.m. Alberta Mountain Standard Time. And so
Right.
it was just getting to be too much. And after that, my health was kind of taking a downturn from just stress and like cortisol spikes and not enough cortisol, too much cortisol. So my kidneys started to kind of shut down
Oh no.
slightly. And this was a time where I was like, yeah, I had to take a minute and be like, okay, what am I doing? Is it I hate the industry I'm working in? Is it I hate the administrative side to it? Like, where are my likes? And it was just the whole answering to somebody else. I was a young mom too at the time. So it was just kind of that decision where it's like, okay, I need that freedom. I need to utilize the skills that I already have that are in demand. I can take this to the next level. So that's a little bit of my backstory there.
That's that's awesome. So I mean, obviously being in Alberta tied to the oil field, we don't me specifically don't work in the oil field, but we certainly are working around those sort of
Hmm.
projects and whatever. And that's sort of it's ever since. Are you native Alberta? Like, were you born here?
Yep,
Are
I'm
you an
actually
import?
born and raised in Calgary. I'm one of the very, very,
Nice.
very few of
Nice.
us that are left standing.
There's
So
not many.
no, it's like you ask people and
That's
it's
true.
like, "Are you?" They're like, "Oh, no, well, I was actually born in Regina, and, like, I came here
Yeah,
when I was 5."
Saskatchewan or
I'm
something.
like, "Not the same thing."
No, no, that's awesome. So then, like, that's where I was going. Is it's sort of the bust and boom of the oil field? Like, lots of people say, if you're not in it, you're crazy. And yet, when it goes
Mhm.
down, everybody's like, "Dude, you got to find something else, or you're gonna starve to death." And
No, and
so,
it's so
I mean,
true.
you said you're. It is true, and certainly federal governments and governments in general. If you've watched any of my stuff, you know I hate them all, but they certainly don't. They don't make things any easier
Don't
for
make it
us
easy.
as business. No. And so you were saying you're trying to find your little niche, your little spot, and whether you hated, the field that you're in or the people that you're working with. It sounds like you're still in the same field and probably working with lots of the similar people. Is it just the fact that you are now steering the ship, or get to do what you want? Is my follow up to that is there really freedom attached to that, or is it just you're now the
Is it
boss,
just
but it's not any more free?
unicorn
It's
farts?
the illusion. Are
Um
you in the matrix?
Yeah, right? So, yeah, after I did, like, a little bit of time of reflecting and stuff, like, before I just kinda recently, within the last year and a half, dove back into more the construction trade-based area. When I first started my company, I was like, "'Kay, I'm gonna kinda dip my toes in some other industries, some other areas," working directly with, like, business coaches and physiotherapy clinics and individual
Oh
massage
yeah.
therapists and stuff like that. So it was a time of like growth and rediscovery, I guess, that I took for the first little bit there too. Um, and then from that, I was like, okay, it was the personalities of the people that I was working with and just the intensely structured corporate bureaucracy of it all. Just, being
Yep.
expected as me. It's like you're expected to be in heels, formal, fancy business attire dress at all times. You'll be customer facing, all these
I see
things,
you're doing
which,
that right now, by the way.
yeah, I know. I'm like, I'm more casual now. I'm like, I can wear my toque that says pay me. This is my end of the month toque. I've got my
Just let's be
jeans on.
clear,
It's like,
Shelby is not being paid right now, just so you know. She's here of her own free will and choice.
yeah.
So I don't know what pay me means, but anyway, no, I'm
Oh,
kidding.
it's
Sorry.
invoicing time. But yeah, so it came down to just the people, the bureaucracy, stuff like that. I always loved the individual trade people that I worked with, not so much the upper management and like the more corporate management. They were the ones that were kind of a little bit hard and bumping heads with, but like the trades guys were always the ones that I enjoyed being around. I could swear as much as I want. I could feel free and open. Like if I said fuck out in the field, nobody bats an eyelash. But if I say that downtown in the Bow Tower, then oh
Yeah,
my God, all eyes are on me. So it came down to the fact that, yeah, I just love the people I work with. I didn't like the big corporate size of people that I was working with at the time, being in major projects. It was like teams of 500 to 1,200 people that were kind of
right.
falling to me for administrative needs and stuff like that. So now being within like the 10 to 15 or 10 and under range is kind of my ideal size of company, including like the actual owner type people, main people, and any subcontractors that they may have working underneath them. But
Yeah.
for your follow up question, the first couple of years weren't so much freedom and everything. It was long
Okay,
hours
good.
and stuff, but having the ability to take an hour and a half and do a doctor's appointment in the middle of the day instead of waiting for those coveted evening or weekend spots. that made life a lot easier. I could take my son to school. I had the ability to block out and do volunteer work with his school and classroom. Like that freedom, I didn't realize was what I was looking for. I was looking for more of the financial, but then this kind of was like, this is worth so much more than any dollar value can ever be put on anything. Being able to not have to request time off and have like a pit in my stomach of knowing it's going to be rejected because we're on a timeline or schedule is going completely into left field and we got to pull our pants up and all this. So there's pros and cons to the freedom, I guess. It's a total illusion that you're going to have the free time in the world and that you're going to work 3 hours a day and be making 3 grand every hour, whatever it may be, like the
Yeah.
outrageous stuff that you see all over social media where it's like, quit your 9 to 5 job and be making 10K in a month. And it's like that. At what cost, though? I'm sure it's possible, but at what physical, mental, spiritual self cost are
Yeah.
you kind of putting on the line to get to that point? And then in the end, who do you have to spend that money on? Because everybody's kind of leaving. So
You've made enemies of everybody, right? But you got lots of money.
always, yeah.
Right?
It's like Scrooge
Yeah,
McDuck.
yeah, true. Well, I mean, I think that's the real answer is, like you say, is it's not just, um, it's not all fairies and rainbows, right? Like you gotta,
Hmm.
and the fact that you're a solo practitioner, it means
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of weight on your shoulders to make all that happen and find the work and make sure that, uh, your client base is satisfied with your work and
Hmm.
it's repeatable and you don't sort of make you I mean, the next question, I guess, is how do you make sure, and maybe you don't want to answer that, this is how do you make sure that your work is repeatable and you don't make your system so succinct that they're like, listen, I appreciate that and I don't need you anymore.
Yeah, so that's a
Is that a concern?
great question. It's always a concern kind of in my line of work is just the constant who the clients are, always wanting more customizable aspects, I guess. Like it's very hard to say, okay, these are the three top things I can help you with. And they'll say, yay, yay, but can you tack on X, Y, and Z? And it's like, I could, but you're going to be paying more for the work because this is basically a change order now.
Yeah.
Um, and yeah, you're going to pay for the work, and this is kind of outside of the original scope and what I do. So if you're willing to pay for it, and I'm one of those people that sometimes gives out astronomical, unrealistic numbers for things like that, just for that, like, not rude way of pushing them away to say, I really don't
We all
fucking
do
want to
it.
do this. Exactly. So it's like one of those things where I'm like, I try to stick to those kind of 3 to 4 main things that I am extremely good at so that it is easily repeatable for every client. Every business is different. They're going to have different ways they want things done, how they want it displayed, who they are, what their voice
Yeah.
is, all those things. So that's where it gets customizable in the sense of my kind of solidified services, but just keeping solid standard operating procedures for myself has been a huge saving grace when it comes to these things. If it is one different tweak that I'm doing with one client versus another, making sure that I'm documenting and tracking that so that if that same situation comes up later on down the line, I'm not going back and trying to struggle through my files to find something, going on YouTube to try and find quick tutorials on jogging my memory and stuff like that. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
but
Yeah.
it's always a work in progress. And kind of like I said, it comes down to every business being different, but me having those kind of main service offerings and stuff really helps solidify. And then just having boundaries and actually sticking to those personal business boundaries and not wavering just for the sake of needing another client on the roster right now or filling a gap zone or something like that.
Right. And that's fair. What what it would be your biggest frustration dealing with us people? Can I say you people?
Us
I have to.
people.
Can't say can't
I
say you
us
people. That
people. I love it. Damn. Um, I guess time. Like I work like the
time.
businesses, it's just time. They don't have the time to sit down for a quick hour to be like, okay, this is I need X, Y, and Z from you, and then I can accomplish half the alphabet from that little bit of information. So it's really the pulling them in to be like, okay, let's have a coffee, let's have a quick Zoom meeting, quick text,
Yeah.
voice messages. Like I'm super flexible in the best communication for what suits you guys the best. But yeah, just the time management. And it's like, this is what I am here to help you accomplish is better time management through getting you better structures and systems put in place so that you don't have to be working from your truck or feeling like a chicken with your head cut off because every single subcontractor you work with for every job you've got is calling you at the exact same time asking the same question you've told them 6 times.
Right. Right. And so I get it's you don't do bookkeeping. It's like you're literally doing administration.
Yeah, so I
Is
do
that
do a
what
bit
we're
of
picking up there?
bookkeeping as well, like coming in helping. I've got a couple clients where I do like the quarterly bookkeeping for them for like their GST running or anything like that, or kind of
Oh yeah.
getting all their receipts. As I have a little nervous twitch there, their shoebox of receipts all put into their QuickBooks or whatever it may be.
Mhm. It's all digital these days, right? That's what
It
everything we do is
is.
digital.
There's a couple old school guys that I
Yeah,
work
yeah.
with that are still not tech savvy enough to understand the concept of how to take a picture of a receipt
Take a
inside an
picture with your
app that
phone.
is on their phone. It's like this
That's
huge
linked to
conundrum.
QuickBooks that'll little just do it all at once, right?
Right? They're like, where do I have to go on the internets for this? And I'm like, oh, there's no S in internet. There's no S.
You know you're in for a long meeting when they say internets. My
It
internets aren't
is.
working. Can you help
It's
me with that?
I'm like, give me a second. I got to block out my calendar now.
Yeah. Oh, that's awesome. Um, okay, so like I say, uh, what do you think we need, or what do you think we could do as a trade, I guess, blue collar people to sort of connect with people like you more, and you know, most of my stuff is in house. All my stuff's in
Mhm,
house. Like we've sort of because we've been doing it for whatever it is now, 30 years.
for
Um,
sure.
but if you're a new guy, and that's the biggest failure that I see is you get new guys like I'm going to run my own business, I'm ready to go, I'm going to take off, and they start pounding out the work, and then like you said at the beginning, there's a whole different skill set of administration, and so
Mhm.
how would you connect, or what would be your conversation with somebody that's like, okay, I'm 3 months into my running my own business, and I've done $50,000 worth of work, I'm getting more clients. What's the conversation that you bring to it to say, how do I help you? Or what do you,
Oh,
I'm the new
I
guy. How are you going to help me, Shelby?
I
And how
love
much is it
this
going to cost
question.
me?
Right? I was gonna say it's all gonna come down to the cost because that's always the biggest question.
Right?
So, the best thing about like the remote administration is not to bash your in-house or anything, but we do
No.
end up being a hell of a lot cheaper on like the quote unquote payroll side than if you were to hire in-house. Now yours may be set up completely different, but some of those extra costs that when you do hire in-house are things such as like your health benefits, any type of
Yeah.
additional insurance if you've got an actual physical office space or like a storefront type thing, any extra rent that you have to consider for maybe bumping out a wall, making a new office, the technology, such as like a laptop, a desktop computer, work phone, work truck, even if it gets to be that far, depending, that's just
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
wild and crazy. I don't know any admin that has ever gotten a work truck except myself because I pay for it now. But So the cost effectiveness of everything just ends up being a lot cheaper, plus the flexibility that comes with remote work too. Maybe one month you only need 10 hours, but then you start getting extra busy and you want to tack on and make it 35 hours. So you've got a little bit more mobility rather than doing a straight 40-hour work week on somebody when maybe that week is only 10 hours worth of work, but you're still paying them for
Right.
the full 40. So things like that start adding up into the tens of thousands of dollars annually if you want to go salary wise. But usually, rates for virtual administration, depending on the projects or work that needs to be done, can vary from like $399 to $3,000 if you're looking to get somebody that's like more specialized and zoned into like a really niche topic area, such as like setting up SOPs and standard operating procedures, or building
Right.
a complete CRM from scratch and doing all of the back end stuff to get the workflows and funnels and all that fun stuff set up. So being new and like your example, about 3 months in, you're starting to feel the squeeze of like, okay, I've got more jobs than me as a single person can handle. That's a little bit of the time to be like, where can I budget friendly for the time being? Because nobody is making copious amounts of money to be able to hire a team of like 10 right out the gate at that
Yeah.
point. And if you are, then there was some extra funding that's coming in from the back door from maybe the,
You got
the
some
bank
venture
of mom and
capitalists that
dad.
are looking, or maybe bank of mom and dad. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. So having this flexibility with getting like subcontractor admins are out there. It's no different than you're working as a project manager and you've got to get subcontractor, the framers, the concrete, the electricians, plumbers, HVAC, you name it. It's such a unique concept and it's not very well known about. So connecting with people like virtual assistants, a lot of the time people will go to things like what is it? Fiverr. There's
Yeah.
another one out there that starts with a W, and I can't think of the name right now. But international virtual assistants, to put it nicely, because there's a cost difference where you're paying maybe a little bit lower for them than you would be for somebody that's local working within Canada and just wanting to make living wage. But again, with that comes how well do you want your spelling and grammar to be in some cases if you're doing like typing document formatting, or how well do you want the communication to be when if they're going to be somebody who's going to be client facing in the sense of making phone calls or doing lead generation for you, things
Right.
like that. So there's pros and cons to both, but honestly, getting that remote support to just like set you up in those areas where trade workers aren't that expertise in. I'm sure you weren't that well versed in customer relation management
No.
programs when you first started, or having anything to do with tracking outside of like maybe an Excel spreadsheet or a notebook or
Yeah.
a pad of paper that you keep in your truck. So,
It is true. There's a massive learning curve. And for me, in my own, it was probably a decade or more of,
mhm,
frankly, ramming my head against the wall and saying, oh, that didn't work. Oh, that's stupid or whatever, until finally you hire a professional. And we did it. I mean, that was back in whatever, early 2000s. So you hire in-house staff to do that. And like, to your point, like you're going to spend, I mean, back then it was, you're spending between 30 and $50,000 a year to bring
mhm,
somebody in full time to do that. In today's day and age, it's 60 to $80,000 to
yeah,
have somebody do that same work. And 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 like you say, that I do think there's lots of value in sort of that subcontractor ecosystem,
modality
whatever you want to
almost.
call it.
Yeah.
Yeah, where you're like, okay, I don't need you full time, but I need you when I need you, which is kind of my whole model in our plumbing business. Is we don't have contracts with people, with any of our big
Yeah.
clientele. It's like, if you need me, you need me. If you don't want me anymore, then I'm not. It's not going to be some legal,
Yeah.
jargon to
I'm
get
not
me
going to
out
bill
of this
you every
contract either.
single month if you're not using my services type thing.
Yeah, exactly right. So I think that's got some value to it. And so, just to give somebody an idea, of sort of your maybe your competition if or your own. Like what if I'm going to run? You said your first number was like 399. What does
Mhm.
399 get me?
Oh, so those ones I was kind of just throwing out there for the sake of like number instances. There are people
You
out there
can't do
that
that
do
here,
charge
Shelby.
that.
Like it's
I know. I didn't even think about that. This is me being blonde and being like, "Oh, I got to do math, which isn't my like specialty. Thank God for calculators." But so with my one of my low ticket offerings, I guess as we call it nowadays, is
sure.
699,
Yeah.
and that's a power project day where I come in for a full 24 to 48 hours to work on 2 to 3 of your most pressing to-do list tasks that you've got. So whether that's updating your CRM with a list of new contacts, that's responding to your emails for inquiries that have come in that you just haven't had a chance to get to in a while, if that's kind of re-templating and designing your documents and templates and stuff like that because you just got a
Okay.
new rebrand done. So things like that that can have like that quicker turnaround, and then the clients see more of like that instant relief aspect, and that's kind of like my lead into my monthly remote assistance package, and then my online business management package, which are about 40 hours a month. They can kind of vary,
Okay.
but yeah, my VA work is about 1,200 a month, and then for online business management, that's 2,500 a month. So got my
Now I'm
little
gonna make a comment.
staircase of little services.
I'm gonna make a comment on your nails. How many words a minute can you type?
I can type 56 words a minute with ease. I've gotten
Okay,
really good at like really bending that first pad
listen, I
where
have
it's
no
like
idea how you
do
ladies
do
do that.
do.
That is a whole different skill set. How you can
It it
make
really is. I've
it
got
is.
like carpal tunnel and stuff from like the extra stretching that I've had to do for typing all these
Is it
years.
worth
So
it?
workplace injuries. Well, yeah, it's covered by Alberta Health, so hell, I'm taking it. Thanks for paying for my
Take it.
surgery there, Bob.
Yeah, you're welcome. Fuck. Anyway, uh, that's so lots of your stuff. Um, and you can think about this question for a minute. Like lots of your stuff is like you say. Well, I don't know what the word is. Maybe rudimentary tasks that I don't have time for. That I
Mhm.
think is mundane or whatever the case may be. What is your take or your perspective of AI? I mean, I get an email every day telling me that AI is going to take over the
Oh,
world, and I need to
I love
hire
that.
my $80 a month AI robot, and it'll revolutionize my life. Now, I don't believe that for 1 second, and I know they're lying to me,
Mhm.
but you must come up against that as a real person when if you come to me and you're selling me your stuff, I'm going to be like, okay, well, why don't I just for
Get AI to do
200
it.
bucks a month, I get AI to do it, respond to my
Mhm.
emails, rebrand my shit, do an Excel spreadsheet. What's your pitch?
So just it is scary to see how much AI has kind of advanced in like the last 3 to 5, even last year.
Yeah,
I personally am not worried about it. Just like trades workers aren't worried about AI coming in to take your jobs. It's just not going to happen because there will always need to be human intervention, no matter how far they think they can stretch this AI, there will always need to be human intervention. And like for example, ChatGPT can has been updated like 30,000 times in the last 6 months. And whatever it's on right now, system wise, can do basically anything that you need done in your business. However, it still needs that human intervention to give it the brand voice, to give it the ideal client. It can't just whip stuff
yeah,
up and have somebody play off of what a computer has done. You have to have that emotional connection to what you're talking about, to what you're educating people on, what your values are. And AI will never get to be that far, even if they're doing like a brain transplant type crazy sci-fi things in the future on like, oh, we're going to take Einstein's brain out of hiding and we're going to put it on a robot and we're just going to give her. Like it's not going to happen. And yes, AI can do probably 90% of what I do on a regular basis, but it still requires the time and the effort of a human to input the direction, have it pump it out, and then continue tweaking what's been popped out. It never is like a one kickback and, oh my God, this is perfect. It's a, can you do
Yeah.
this? Can you rewrite it to be more like this? Blah, blah, blah. So, whereas working with a human, you get that once brain dump thing out, and it's like, okay, I can take that and I can run with it. And you don't need to be intervening for the next 15, 20 minutes every 30 seconds. So,
No, I agree with that 100%. That my response has been the reason that people hire me and use me, and the reason that I am successful is because of the relationships that I have with people,
yeah.
and my responses to that. And that is not, you're not able to simulate that on a
Mm-mm.
meaningful level with anybody. Like the people will phone me about their toilet, and then I'll talk to them about their kids, or
Yeah.
their, you know what I mean? That's the type of relationships that we have, or about their, case in point, their wife that just got found out had cancer. Hey, how's the things going? Let's,
Yeah.
let's put the project aside for half a second and talk about real life. And there's no way that AI will ever repeat that. And I think that it's going to get to the point where people are like, listen, I don't want to talk to a robot anymore. I want to talk to a
Yeah.
real person and have that type of connection. I think if
Mm-hmm.
we've learned anything from social media, that the more connections doesn't necessarily mean a bigger impact, right? You
Yeah.
still want to, go out for dinner, or, go to a conference, or whatever the case may be, to
The
actually look somebody in
social
the eyeballs.
aspect, the physical
Yeah.
social aspect of it is what's like the most important part to it.
Yeah.
And
And
AI
you
will
won't
never
replace
be
that
able
with
to
some
replace
crazy,
that. No.
no. No, I agree 100%. And so I mean, I don't have any fear of that. I don't think my boys have any fear of that. And if you're able
Mm-hmm.
to provide those sort of innate and personal solutions that you're talking about, then I don't think you have anything really to worry about either, as far as the AI
Exactly.
monster
Like,
that.
don't get me wrong, like it's a great tool, and that's what it should always be and always stay as a tool. It can't be something
Yeah.
that we continuously use as a crutch and our schooling, in our business, in just general life. Like I know people that respond to their personal emails through just like copy and pasting into Chat GPT and just copying, pasting, and hitting send. And like it's so obvious when AI
I know you can see
becomes
it, right?
used to, you can see it. Like when I was having my Instagram problems with you and my AI just kept sending you
I know
automatic
that it
messages,
did.
I was just like, no, this is not the person. This is not the person.
I
Because
know
I
we had
knew
like
you'd
three or four.
comment on that. And I'm like, this is going to blow my shot.
We had two or three like back and forth, and then the encapsulated message came. I'm like, oh shit, That's- this is a
It
robot.
was
Damn it.
horrible. It was horrible. And I can't delete them fast enough. And I think I'm deleting it on both sides and I'm not. And oh, it was just
Yeah.
absolutely insanity. That took like 3 hours to find that setting. Like Meta's got that in there deep.
Yeah, it's baked in, right? Don't worry,
Yeah.
we'll handle it all for you. I'm like, no, no, I'm a fully
It's like, please
capable and
don't.
grown
This
ass
is
adult.
why I don't like AI. It just
Yeah.
it assumes way too much, and you know what they say about assumptions.
Yeah.
It makes an ass out of you and me. So,
Yeah.
which it
Yeah.
did.
No, it was a very quick recovery. That was a nice job, because I was like, oh man, I got suckered in. The first two were good, and then
Then it was obvious.
I don't even remember what
Yeah.
it said, but I was like, oh.
I don't either. I deleted it and I wish I took a screenshot of it. So I'm like, what the hell?
All right. So what advice do you have for someone that's starting out or someone that's been in for 10 years? And you have a unique perspective that I think we should tap into a little bit. As you aren't blue collar, you are certainly tangential to that, but you are. I'm assuming. I'll make a couple of assumptions after what you just said. I'm assuming you're
Go
college or
ahead.
university trained, and you're a woman, and
Mhm.
both of those things are, if we're being honest, are looked at differently. I don't want to say looked down on or whatever, but there's
Mhm.
certainly different perception when a woman shows up and maybe a woman that's not particularly in the trade. So what are some of the challenges that you've seen? Has it gotten better? Is it worse? I won't ask you like
Um,
six questions in a row. So
no,
maybe
that's all
what are some of
good.
the
Ask
challenges you've seen?
away. We'll write them down and we'll go in order. Um, yeah, it is challenging, kind of from going from that corporate part to now being able to steer my own ship and kind of take things in my own hands a bit more. It was a big shift. It's gotten a lot better now, but like from my personal experience being in that corporate world, it was that, like I'd mentioned before, very sexist in a way, if I want to go that far, very
Yeah, no, I
1950s
mean, it's
vibes,
your vision
like
of how
I'm
you
an
felt about it.
admin. Yeah,
Yeah.
like I'm an admin. It's like that madman kind of sitting at the desk in a tight polka dot dress. And, I'm sitting there filing my nails all day with a headset on, waiting for the boss to come in so I can grab him his cappuccino and ask if he needs his Porsche washed and all this fun stuff. So, and I just put on my blinders to it for such a long time and just went with it because I'm like, this is just what you expect. Like, this is what I expected the workforce to be coming in and an administrative role, being a woman, being blonde, that had a big thing. And then again, working in oil and gas and multi-million dollar buildings downtown and kind of
Yeah, yeah.
being in that atmosphere and that environment for so long that just you absorb the personality of who you're expected to be. Whereas now I've got that freedom and ability to set those boundaries where if I feel like who I thought would have been a potential client ends up getting a bit too not business related with conversations and things like that, we'll put it that way, because that
Yeah,
does
yeah.
still happen quite frequently in my line
This,
of work, is trying to show authority and not the sex sells type. I'm in a
yeah,
role that is looked at in a different way sometimes, so respecting those boundaries with myself now and having that freedom to say, you know what, nope, if you're not going to be respectful of this business working relationship, then I am more than happy to watch your money go back out the door that you tried to come in. So,
nice. And do you think have you lost anything, or has that been an advantage or disadvantage in the last
I've
couple of
lost
years,
a
maybe?
couple big deals, but, just from like self reflecting post corporate and kind of getting to where I am now, lots of therapy, lots of therapy. Um, I've been able to realize that, what, the money part of it isn't why I'm here. Kind of like I mentioned before, it's about the connections that I'm making with my clients, where it almost feels like we're more family than a business relationship, where I
Yeah,
can have those like business conversations, but then be able to flip it to, like you said, being more personal and checking in. How's the family? How is your like other side thing going? How's your garden? When was the last
yep,
time you baked a pie type thing? So it's been a lot of, yeah, self-reflecting, self-work, to get to the point where I can comfortably let those moments go without feeling that dread a week later, being like, okay, that would have been really nice to have right about now if, things end up going sideways or a project falls through and things like that. So,
yeah. Okay. No, well, and like you say, those are. I mean, that's a real reaction. What else can you say if you've got to? I mean, that's the joy of steering your own ship, right? Is
Hmm.
either you run it into the rocks or you avoid them. Whatever.
Yeah. And like, I'd be lying if I said I hadn't done both so far in my business. There's all these constant
Yeah.
lessons learned that you're going through. And I'm sure everybody who listens, you yourself included, have had moments where you're just like so headstrong on doing it this way, and you do it that way and it completely goes sideways, and you just like beat yourself up for a while. And why was I so stupid to go that way? But then you're like, well, I'm obviously not doing that again. So
There's a lot of that. I will absolutely admit there's a lot of maybe not daily anymore, but there was a time where I'm like, well, that's not happening again, right? Just
yeah,
this, the lessons that you learn, hoping for the best. Um,
expecting the worst.
yeah, expecting the worst. That's what business is, hoping for the best and expecting the worst.
It
Um,
is.
so where do you like, what's your goal? Where do you want to take this thing? Like what, if you were queen of the world for a day or a year, where would you be? What
A
would,
year.
uh, am I saying this right? Jonas,
Yes, I
your
love
last name,
it. Very
Jonas.
rarely
There we
people
go.
will go Jones and things like that. So proud of you for that
No,
one.
where is Jonas administration going to be in five years from now? If you could have whatever you wanted.
Oh man, these are such good questions you're throwing at me. I'm really hoping that by that time I've expanded to have like subcontractors of my own and be more of like the forward facing part of Joinus administration, where I'm like going out to those networking events. I'm going and doing interviews. I'm actually being the person that's kind of pitching the company as a whole. And then I've got like
Yep.
a little team working behind me kind of remotely as well that does all the labor intensive stuff. And I'm more of like the check in, how's it going, keeping that personal connection and nurturing those relationships kind of throughout their journey with us. So that's my big goal. And I've got my big planning session coming up that I take a couple of days off work and just like hunker down in my office. And I'm like, okay, what are my goals for the next 3, 6, 9, 12 months down the road? And then my 3 to 5 year plan, and just get it all done and start putting sticky notes and like all of the reminders all over my office to keep me up to date. And
That's such a girl thing to do, isn't it? It's
it
the
is.
sticky
I
note.
know I've got my glitter pens and my gel pens. I go to Michael's twice a week. That's where my
Listen,
expenses go. Like my
listen.
overhead is
I'm
very
gonna tell
low.
you, if you want to make more money, quit going to Michael's twice a week and cut it down to one,
You're
and you'll
right.
be. That'll change your life for the better. I promise.
100%. I'm going to take that advice. I'm sure my husband would appreciate that advice coming from you as well.
Yeah, no, I. There's a few women in my life that I'm like, listen, you got to calm down, lady. Like it's out of control. Like slow it
The
down.
seasonal stuff. Yeah. It's like, oh, we need seasonal decor. I need new
Season.
throw pillows.
Listen, that the corporate machine is in full effect when every whatever it is now 2 months there's a new. I thought there was only 4 seasons, but apparently there's like 8 at least,
There's
where the whole
100%.
house,
There's so many.
everything has to change. Yeah,
Yeah.
and so somebody's
Corporate
doing
trauma,
doing
man.
their corporate trauma. is that is that what we're calling it? That's fair.
The corporate trauma.
Ah. Okay, so that's your. I mean, you're the captain of industry. You're running your show 5 years from now. Everything is. You got your little minions doing your labor intensive stuff. What do you think your biggest obstacle of that happening is?
Oh, that is a good question. I say that for every question you've asked, but it really is.
I'm really good at what I do.
I know you really are. And I'm so glad I get to be a part of this goodness that's going on because this is great.
Yeah.
But my biggest obstacle, I think it would be kind of with everybody. It's like keeping the turnaround since I've been such a solopreneur for so long. It's ironically getting myself to pass off work, which is what I get my clients to do to me. They pass their work off to me. So it's
Yeah.
that self delegating where it's like I can rock stuff for other people and like do all the things for them. But when it comes to doing that in my own business, like I suffer with that too, just like everybody else does.
Can you practice what you preach, right?
Yeah. And that's like the biggest balancing act to try and level out for me is like I can do these things, but being able to take the time to actually look in and focus on my business without the thought of, but I've got client work that needs to get done. The client work is what pays the bills, and that's what keeps the machine oiled and
Rolling.
running and
Yeah.
going. So it's like, can I justify losing X amount of dollars for so many hours to do stuff for my business, which then in the long run will really benefit me? But it's the seeing past that right now conundrum of being stuck in the void of, do I take the red pill or do I take the blue pill?
It's always the blue pill. Always. Isn't it?
Always the blue
Is it the
pill.
blue pill?
I think now
I
I'm
will
second
fully.
guessing
I
myself
think
about
so.
what
Yeah,
pill.
I'm second
I'll
guessing
just
myself. No,
take
I think
both
it's
and make a purple.
that has been my biggest challenge, to be perfectly honest, and probably why the biggest factor of me going from having basically 20 guys down to just myself was
Hmm.
it was really difficult for me to delegate those tasks. And full disclosure, I probably wasn't super good at outlining what I wanted to be done. I was super good at being mad about what didn't happen. I'm not sure
Yeah.
I was super good at being like, this is here's the step by step by step by step of what I expect. If things went sideways, then I was more than vocal about why it went sideways and how you need to do better. And it's only really been since I've had the boys, and like Isaiah's into year 8 and Pete's into year 6
Oh,
of
wow.
doing this stuff, and it's finally I'm at the point where they run it mostly. I say, this is what I
Hmm.
want done. You know what my expectations are, and off they
Go do it.
go. And usually, if
Yeah.
if usually something goes sideways, they know it before I do, and say, "Listen, you're going to get a phone call because we did this, this, or this." And
Yeah.
so I don't. I mean, it's not a super good business model to create your own employees and do the 30-year plan to get there.
It
But
happens though. That's like the beauty part
it's
about
been
being your
awesome.
own business owner. You just
Yeah,
roll with the punches is literally what you do every single day because you may know so much, like especially in trades. So my husband, he's a journeyman electrician and we have this conversation all the
we hate the
time and I know
sparkles.
you've
Just so you
talked
know,
about it. I know everybody hates the sparkles
the
and I'm kind of hating it
sparkles,
too.
freaking sparkles, man. Anyway,
But he can hook up like new office lights and do stuff like that. So I'm like, all right, you've got like a little bit because I don't touch electricity. That's like the one thing that I don't fuck with. But we have
no,
this conversation all the time about, and you've talked about it a couple of times, like the education versus real life experience and stuff like
yep,
that. And a lot of the times when people are going into business, they know the very bare minimum of what needs to get done, how to do it. I can Google it, YouTube it, or whatever. I've got to go to the registry and I've got to get my insurance and my registration, all that technical business stuff. And I need to do some type of tracking of my invoices and money coming in and money going out. Not saying it needs to be a massive year end report style sheet, but the basic stuff
yeah,
and coming into it, people just don't realize how much extra stuff is entwined and how far out the web of business actually will take you. Like and you're talking about managing like a big team, and now you're back down to a really small one that's more family based and stuff. That when I was in corporate, I was helping to manage teams of 500 people I'd talk to throughout the course of like 2 or 3 days, and telling them this is what's expected of you here at this site. This is what we're doing here. I need your safety reports, get them here, and feeling like I can manage a team and whatnot. Like I've got it in me. And then you get into your own realm of doing your own business.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, fuck, I don't have HR to fall back on. I don't have upper management to ask for support questions. I don't have a supervisor or somebody parallel in a different department, even. So it just can
Yeah, you're the
spiral
pastor in the
so
pulpit,
easy.
right?
Yeah,
Like
100%.
you're
You're
up the
all
whole
the
thing.
things.
Not pulpit
You're the
parishioner.
whole
Like
dang
you're the one
church.
that you're running the show and listening and cleaning the whatever needs to be done, and
Yeah. And it's a
it's a
lot.
lot on your
So
plate.
kind of like you were mentioning, when you're about that 3 month mark, or even earlier if possible, is the ideal time to really just work on the systems of your business. Like solidify a CRM program and actually get into the habit of inputting your new clients and your contacts and making stuff get smooth, because you almost get so far down the rabbit hole of being in business that you're so far gone that you need a month of your own time to really hash out what you could have done at the beginning and not have to worry about it now. So, like that, putting it off until it's so
Yeah.
big that it's like, Kate, this is now Everest when it was a tiny little anthill 3 months ago.
That was the biggest lesson is, and continues to be, is lots of my administrative stuff was like trauma based, right? Like the government's calling you. Where's your you haven't filed your GST or
GST
your
or your
taxi or your
taxes, or
taxes or
where's your updated
you,
address and where's your license,
yeah,
and
your
yeah.
corporate returns and all that stuff. I'm like, what is that? And you're like,
Yeah,
dude,
it's like,
like
oh fuck.
they're about to make your life hell. You better figure that
Yeah.
the F out before,
Yeah. Because when
the
they want your
barbarians
money,
are
they
at the
want it
door.
right now.
Yeah, there's no negotiating with those guys, right? Like it's
No,
they want it and they want it now, and being nice or cordial doesn't really get you much
no.
in that space.
Because you're talking
So
to
I
a
do think
robot. It's AI
you
now.
are talking. Yes. Well, I mean, they certainly punch them out of the factory like that. There's no doubt about that,
Oh, do
right?
they ever?
Do you do much with CRA or any of those guys? Like, is that part of your service package, or yes, no, maybe
So
so?
I don't directly, but I do work with like a small group of accountants that I've kind of do a referral business
Yeah,
between back and forth. And it's, I'll do the bookkeeping, like I'll enter the invoices, I'll make sure that the ARAP is all in line, but that's about as far as I take it. And then I say, these are my guys. If you want to give them a call and chat with them, I'd be more than happy to connect you. And like, I pay somebody who has gone to education and stuff like that to deal with the government and numbers and stuff. Like, that's
as
money
you
money
should.
well spent, because that's not my specialty. And I'd be saying I made way more than I did, and then I'd get mad because my taxes are so high.
Yeah,
The vicious cycle of the government.
it is a vicious cycle. So I mean, I guess that's part of it. Well, you bring your own network with you when somebody hires Shelby. It's the
Yeah.
whole,
So
I've
when I
got my
mentioned
contacts.
before that I've got those kind of 3, 4 main areas of my expertise and stuff that I deal with. And, if stuff kind of ends up overflowing or looking like it's going to overflow, I've got my black book of contacts that I can call up and say, hey, I'm not willing to do this, but it's so and so. I'm happy to make your acquaintance. And if you're a fit,
Yeah,
go for
and
it,
off we
or
go.
feel free to look for somebody else, and I'll continue doing what I do.
Now, does your husband hire you?
He does, actually.
Does he?
But is it like hiring or is it just me being in charge of the home finances?
I don't know.
But he does, yeah. We've got some fun finance games that we play to mess
And
around a
he
bit
is
with
he
our
is he
numbers and
self-employed?
whatnot
Is
to
he
make
running
it
his own
good.
show?
So he's not self-employed right now. He was self-employed up until about 3 years ago. Had kind of same as you, 50,
Uh,
30 people, and it would kind of fluctuate up and down. Then it got down to him and two guys. Then he got offered a job with a company that he was like, well, I can't say no to this. And so he does salary and stuff, but I do his timesheets so that he says he does his
nice,
timesheets for the job, but I just do them. And then he throws me the hourly wage of whatever he'd make for that 2 hours of time sheeting, and we call it a day. So it's kind of nice.
nice. And that, well, and I guess that speaks to it's specifically about him. The opportunities in the trades, like never go away. Like you'll be
Yeah.
offered all sorts of. You can grow it big, you can go it small. I mean, somebody's going to offer you a job sooner or
There's
later. I've
such
been offered a few of.
versatility.
Yeah, yeah, that's the beauty of this whole thing, including sort of your sideline to the blue collar world is offering those services to those guys that just want to get out in the truck and pound out the job, right? Like work with
Yeah,
their hands
exactly.
and do their thing. Well, I promised that we try and keep it under an hour, and we're into like minute 56 already. Is there what 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 advice would you offer? Sort of maybe. So let me think about this for a second. What advice would you offer? Sort of the women of the world that are thinking about getting into uh, the blue collar world a bit, and and yeah, let's start with that one.
Oh, definitely. Like it's possible to get into. And I feel it really comes down to personality type and work ethic too. You also have to have, like you've mentioned multiple times, you got to have thick skin to be in this industry. And I think it needs to be even
Yeah.
thicker if you're a woman because it's not just the little bantering back and forth. It can get to be a little bit more sexualized and kind of have underlying undertones. Not saying all conversations and all people in the trades are like that, but they're, from my experience, a good majority end up going down that route with conversations. So it's totally possible. You can totally do it. It's just having that really strong back to be able to take stuff on and not be breaking every moment when you feel like your feelings might have been hurt or that you took something a little bit more personal than what was intended, and just kind of let it be water off a duck's back in a sense. But it's doable. And, as not as many women are in the trades, but we are seeing a steady progression of women that at least attempt to go in the trades, take a little bit of time in the trades, whether they make their entire career in the trades or not. They're at least
Yep.
taking that step to go into something that may be providing them of interest or piquing their interest, or they've got a real passion to doing. Like before administration, my actual goal was to go to SAIT to get my journeyman welding tickets. So we can see how
Oh,
things can take a turn. But
listen, if you're going
yeah,
to hang out with the welders, you're tougher than most trades, man. Those guys are animals.
I know. My kind of whole goal was to go into like deep sea welding. That was like the main
Holy
goal that I
hell,
had
bells.
stuck in my head. I was going to go balls deep into welding and do it at the bottom of the ocean. And then my parents
That
were
is.
very, why don't you do administration, and kind of push me into more of like you're a girl, let's
Go.
go into the female side of things. And I'm like, okay, but so this is my like, I'm close but not in it. I'm
Yeah,
just
yeah.
using my skills to be a nice like sideline position. So
No, I think that's fantastic. And I, if whatever, if I was your parent, I would have said the same thing. Listen, those are fantastic ambitions, but let's stay down
Yeah,
the
I
middle
think
of
it
the
was
blue
like a
collar road
moment
for a
of,
minute.
yeah, right? But I remember once
Before we
my
go
mom
four
was
wheel
like, "Well,
driving.
what about being a flag girl at a construction site?" And I'm like, "Oh my god, mom, no."
Okay.
I'm like, "That is one step down from like stripper."
Listen, you nailed it. Like you say, you're going for deep sea welding and she's like flag girl. Like there is a massive gulf
I
in
know,
between
it
those
was
two.
just so wild. The complete polar of polar opposites going on my career journey at the age of 14 or
not
something.
not wrong. Not wrong. Is that what would you change about your journey? Is there anything? Are you like without I mean whatever, that might be a bit of a personal question. Is there anything that
Yeah.
you like regret, or if you could go back and say,
I
man, this is what
regret
I would
not
change
doing
this?
this sooner. I regret not doing this sooner and starting this maybe 5 years ago. Honestly, as much pain and struggle and like late nights and tears of frustration and like excitement and wins for myself and wins for my clients that I have,
Yep.
I wouldn't change this experience for the world. And if there was a change, it would just be, I wish I started doing this sooner, because it's just, words can't describe the feeling you get from being in your own area of expertise and being your own boss, to be cliche and everything with that topic, but just
No, it's
you're the
not cliche.
person who's in charge and responsible and logistically doing things to keep stuff moving and food on the table. So yeah, that's where I'm at on that.
That I would echo that. Anybody that I've ever talked to and asked that question of, um, that's generally the answer. I wish I'd started this sooner. Like that, once you sort
Mhm.
of get into that rhythm and you get onto that road, not that it's problem or stress free, but my terms of that are, I know what my stresses are and I know what my problems are and I know how to solve them both. And there's not a whole lot of the unexpected in my world. Um, and I suspect that might be the same for you. Uh, but you don't know that until you're actually in it and driving it and dealing with it every day.
Yeah,
Is that a fair thing to say?
100%. Oh, 100%. You don't know what you don't know until you're in the situation of needing to know.
Yeah. No, I think that's great. I think that's awesome. And so how do people get in contact you? There's probably, well, at least there's one. Maybe there's dozens. You'll have to let me know how it goes.
There's
How do
here.
people get in contact you and hire you and make your dreams come true instead of in 5 years, in two?
Oh, perfect. So people can connect with me on social media. I'm on Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, all Join Us Administration. And then people can also check out my website on the contact us page. That's www.joinusadmin.ca. And feel free to shoot me a message to the website or DM me on social media. I am always an open book and looking to start conversations with people and get them started.
That's awesome. I'll make sure that when we post this stuff that have your, at least your uh,
Yeah, I'll
Instagram handle
shoot you a
on there, and
message
so they
with
can,
info.
yeah, and can do all that sort of stuff. And I think that's awesome. I appreciate you taking the time. I am here in the next couple of like 30 seconds going to press stop, and then we can have an offline conversation about how everything went. And you can tell me what I have to take out.
I don't think
I
there
don't think I
was
have to take out
anything, to
anything,
be
but
quite honest with you.
no, it was pretty good. Any final words there, Shelby? For the
No, I'm
audience in
just
general?
super grateful to have had this opportunity to speak with you. I feel like this was like a really riveting conversation, and I hope that it'll bring a little bit more awareness that like admins can be subcontractors too. You don't have to go ahead and hire straight in-house and pay astronomical payroll fees to have the support that you need for your business to succeed.
I I absolutely concur. I think that's a great model. I think there's lots of value in that. And there's lots of people that are starting out on their little journey that don't know what you know, certainly know the trade side of things, but don't know the paperwork side of things that you can be
Mhm.
an absolute advantage to. So if my recommendation is worth anything, you should contact Shelby and get her looking after your stuff. Sound good?
Sounds amazing. I think they should
That now
too.
that's a plug if I've ever heard of one. All right.
The best
Thanks for joining
plugin.
us. The best plug ever. All right.